times have truly changed. Churches all over, whatever faith they are having to change. They have to, because the community's needs are completely different now than they were 30 years ago.
Yes. The church of 30 years ago is not the church of today, or the churches that remain like they were 30 years ago are fairly empty today. And so in order to be relevant, one has to respond to the new demands, the new challenges. And if the church is to be relevant to the communities it serves, it must have responses and answers, because frankly, government isn't doing it, the private sector is inadequate in doing it, and the only institution in the African American community particularly is the church, which is why we take on as our mission and as our vision serving in a far different way than happened 30 years ago.
What is your relationship with Comerica Bank?
Comerica Bank is a partner with this church. It's been a very forward-looking institution in which we were able to take to them our vision of what we saw the church doing in the 21st century, the church being involved beyond the four walls. We wanted to create, for example, and establish a family life center here in South Los Angeles, a center where we could say to young people, come here and learn what they aren't teaching in school. Come here and get some computer skills. Come here and learn languages other than English. Come here and understand how to become an entrepreneur. Come here and find a safe place where you can have fun and you can play. Those were the visions that we took to our partners at Comerica and said, we want to establish that kind of center here, and we have a business plan. And Comerica Bank has been wonderful in listening to us and saying, we understand your vision, we will work with you.
How does Comerica Bank's faith-based initiative assist the temple?
Well, in several ways. Number one, we've been able to do a major renovation of our existing facilities. Comerica Bank understood what we were trying to do, and they stepped right in terms of the kinds of financial instruments we needed in order to make that happen. Secondly, as we talked about a 3, 5, 10, 20-year plan moving to the future in terms of a strategic movement on the part of this congregation, Comerica already had the kind of ears in which they could hear what we were saying, and we weren't talking a foreign language to them. A church being involved in business, a church being involved as an entrepreneur, a church being involved in something beyond worship. That was music to their ears. We could talk, we could communicate, we could plan together. That's why we call them our partner. Oftentimes in the past, churches would buy buildings so they could build a larger church. We're not building a larger church building. We're building a facility that can serve people 7 days a week. The wonderful thing about having a worship center is that it's good for Sundays, or good for the Sabbath, or for special concerts. But the rest of the time, the building lays empty. We want a building that will be full with laughter, full with smiling faces. And so we're getting that building so that we might do those things, to build lives.
What is your business plan to pay off a loan and continue the next phase?
That's one of the greatest challenges for any church, for any nonprofit institution, because you have to generate revenues based upon the services that you operate. For a church, for the kinds of services that we're looking to provide, there are various sources in which we're looking to get funding streams. Some of them are from city, state, and federal government sources, where we are addressing what it is that they would like to see done in the community. So you get grants and you get contracts from city, county, and federal facilities or resources. Secondly, there are foundations that would like to see particular kinds of services provided. You have to compete for them, and that's okay, but we would present to them our story, what it is that we are looking to do. And there are foundations throughout California and throughout this nation that want to relate with progressive community-based organizations, progressive faith institutions, and support their work. Thirdly, there are individuals that also see our vision. They may not be even members of our church, but they understand what it is we're trying to do, who are likely to provide resources, support to what we're doing. Then finally, there's our church community, the persons who are part of Bryan Temple AME Church, who are making sacrifices and making sacrificial contributions to feed and support the vision. So it's through all of those sources. There's no single source for resources. Matter of fact, we have to be extraordinarily creative, because if the solutions were already there, other people would be doing them. They aren't, because you have to first identify the need, then identify ways of addressing them. That's the business side of what you do.
In the context of the temple and the community, how do you define success?
Success is one family at a time, one life at a time, one new, wonderful story at a time.